Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
It's never been more exciting to be a Cavs fan. There's something special, not just about the Cavs being good again. We've seen the Cavs win a championship, obviously, 2016, but also the organic nature of this build of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And to help talk about it, somebody who's talked to these guys, has seen the growth of this core over the last 3-4 years, Cam Justice. Cam, what is it like to see just how much this, because you remember when this was like the John Beeline and Tristan Thompson was still here from his original run with the Cavs. Like, how interesting is it to have seen this team at the state where we're arguing about Colin Sexton and should we have gotten rid of Kevin Porter, right? And all of this, and who's through soup, right? All of this stuff. And then now we're here, and it's like there's a lot of these guys are the same. But it just feels like that was like when I see Evan Mobley in that LeBron 2018 jersey, I'm like, well, what did that happen? Like, he wore that jersey. Like, it feels like such a long time ago.
Oh, a lifetime ago, right? I think it's because how drastic of a change this organization has been through in such a short amount of time. When you think rebuild, you think, far longer than 5 years. Like that's not what you think. Franchises, and Cleveland knows that very well. Franchises go through decades with uncertainty and disorganization. And I think Kobe Altman came in, figured it out. There were obviously missteps along the way. You figure that out. So through the rebuild, you build exactly what you're looking for. And I think it happened so quickly. That's why it feels just like so hard to grasp. Is it went from championship team making it to the finals every year to what we saw on the product line and moving and having JB come in and like you said, the arguments about is Colin Sexton the guy to move forward? Is he your star to build around? And then now you have a team that is very clear. There's 4 stars, 5 on a good night. The depth is unmatched. It's the culture is incredible. Everything about this team works together. And even the question marks that were left last season have been answered with the same guys. They figured out the next step they needed was the head coach. Yeah. And that has just changed everything.
And I think too, the reason it feels so fast is that usually you draft somebody like Darius Garland, you realize they're a star, and then you're like, oh, we need to get that other guy, right? And you spend like a couple of years getting the other guy. But what happened was that Evan and Darius basically like emerged the same exact season. And then the next year, you add Donovan Mitchell. There was not that weird waiting period where you're like, oh, let's figure out who's going to be there and there. It's like, okay, we got Jared Allen, boom, 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 Donovan Mitchell. And I think we finally saw the years that they've dedicated to that core 4, the development that they've had, the commitment that they've put together there kind of finally start to pay off here. It's interesting to look at this Cavs team. I think another thing that needs to be talked about, and I think that's where we're going to head here, is not only is this team different from that era, people talk about the Cavs kind of still like it's 2022, right? Like I've caught that where people say stuff about the Cavs, the same exact stuff they said 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? When the Cavs were in this position in their first real playoff series as a core. How much do you think mentally the toll of the whole New York thing, right? How that leaked into 2023 or 2024 and kind of, made a mess of it, and now you're at this 2025 level new coach. Like, what do you see is different mentally about this basketball team compared to where they were in 2023 that makes you feel a lot different about just the scope of what they can accomplish this year?
The confidence. It's the outright confidence. And that's something that you can't just manufacture it. It has to come naturally, and it has come naturally. And I think it's really come because of what we've seen this Cavs team do, right? The things that they need, the steps they needed to take in order to have the success that they were able to do in the regular season this year. Evan Mobley is a guy that they all talk like when you ask them what the key was, when you ask any player on that roster what the key to the Cavs' success has been, what it feels different from last year, from the year before, it's Evan Mobley and his development. They have always called him a unicorn. They have always given him this ceiling that they knew what they wanted from him. They thought that he was going to be able to be a shooter. We've talked about this, like him working on his offensive game. We know that he's a great defender. We know he's got the size, but what can he do on the offensive side of the ball to contribute and facilitate success with the Cavs? And that is what we've seen this year, shooting threes, making threes at career highs. I mean, this is what they needed. And you ask anybody on that roster why this team has found the success that they did and why they have this confidence. It's because Evan Mobley has taken that next step. And then you go down, obviously, Darius Garland, getting back to the Darius Garland that we saw as an all-star. He had no favors last year, was given no favors, went through a lot. It was really tough for him, with the injury, the jaw injury, the losing the weight, the having to come back and battle and play at 15 pounds lighter than he should have been, plus the mental toll of it, losing, his grandma. I think those things played into the uncertainty about Darius Garland and the questions that people had about what kind of player he was going to be, but he's back and he shows that he's back, right? Clutch player of the year, I think, without a doubt. And Evan Mobley being DPOY, I think, is without a doubt too. But then you have the confidence in the front office to have filled the holes from these years that you saw. Like the physicality in New York was a big problem. The size and the switch ups that Boston threw out, all of those have been addressed, right? I think like DeAndre Hunter, that move, if they weren't confident before, because that was right before the trade deadline, like at the trade deadline, and they were obviously the best team in the East at that point. If they weren't confident before, that I think gave them the confidence in the front office to say, we know what it takes and what you guys need. They didn't feel like they might have needed anything, but they were okay, I think, as a team, not moving, not making any moves at the deadline and moving on with the team as is. But for it to be DeAndre Hunter brought in, I think that was like, okay, this addresses a very specific area. We want to win. This organization wants to win now. We want to build this. And I think that has contributed to these guys buying. They've already bought in, but buying into this as an entirety, right? As we can win a championship. And I think that confidence is what I'm looking forward to most as this playoff series begins. And as we get into it, obviously we all hope that they go on a deep run, but I think what I'm hoping to see throughout the run that they make is that confidence show up in areas that it wasn't evident in 2022, 2023. I want to see them realize what they can do, and it's not just a regular season thing, it's an all the time thing. This is who they are. They're a team that plays cohesively as a unit, a team that's very deep, that can go deep, maybe deeper than other teams do in a playoff situation. They are a team that can shoot. Doesn't have to shoot, though, because they can navigate in other capacities. Donovan Mitchell, I think what I'm excited about, and it's a weird thing to talk about, the slump that he had, that shooting slump, I think to me that was huge, because I think what it shows is the capacity that he has in all areas of this team. So if he's not having a great night shooting, well, you know what? You might just get 16 assists instead. And you've got a guy like Evan Mobley who's now shooting, and you can kick that ball out to him, and you know that you have the confidence that he can make that shot. It's not just throwing it up on a wing and a prayer. Like, he's very capable and probably is going to make that shot. Darius Garland can get you in those crunch time minutes, in those playoff situations that you know you're going to have. You can trust him to have that shot, to have that ball, and get you where you need to go. I think all of those things play in to what this team has been able to do and how they've been able to grow. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it play out. We saw it in the regular season. I'm looking forward to seeing it play out in the playoffs where it matters most.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's important is the Cavs have like 5 guys who could break your game plan, right? And I think that's what matters in a 7-game series, right? Is how many guys do you have that can just destroy a plan? Evan Mobley starts making threes, you're going to have to switch out who you're playing, and that's going to destroy your game plan, right? Donovan Mitchell, we know his ability to do that is well documented. Darius Garland, right? He can put up 40 on a given night, and that breaks your game plan. Ty Jerome, he can put up 40 on a given night and break your game plan. And I think even DeAndre Hunter, right, he gets going from 3 and he's playing good defense, then that's going to destroy whatever you're trying to do off the bench, because you're just going to have to sub your starters back in, and that's going to destroy your game plan. And I think that's an important thing to think about. Now, Darius has kind of become the default. Well, the Cavs, we don't have to worry about Darius. I want to look at this the other way, right? Because I don't think Darius deserves this amount of scrutiny about being the potential liability on this Cavs team. I actually look at Darius and go, I'm excited for this dude, because I think a lot of the narratives that have been thrown on his back have been just the most void of context narratives that kind of rely on ignorance, where it's like, oh, Darius isn't good in the playoffs. He averaged 20 against New York in a series where Donovan Mitchell was the one that did not show up for that, and he even admits that, right? But yet we talk about Darius as the guy that needs to show something in the playoffs because Donovan had that good series last year, but the reason Darius didn't, he was down 15 pounds. We know what weight does to a jumper, especially if you've been watching this show. I'm big on the weight affects your jumper thing, right? But it's been like this, he'll have a bad game at the wrong time, and then people jump on him, right? But then he'll have 8 straight good games against really good opponents, and then nobody says anything. I think Darius is coming into this playoff with a lot to show and a lot to prove, and I think you're seeing it because, look, this year, so like the career aside, I don't know where you think about this, but I'll just say this. I think no Cav has showed more with their back against the wall this season than Darius Garland has. Like, when the Cavs are pushed against a wall, Darius is usually the one that starts making stuff happen. And I don't think he gets enough credit for the fact that I think he got better this year.
I think so too. I think that, and in moments, I think, right, one of the things it was not opportune moments. Yeah, like you mentioned, right, like having a bad game in Boston that led to the loss, breaking this. Like that's tough. That's really tough, and that's people who are looking for that, waiting for that to happen, can point their finger and say, "Well, see, I told you." Like, this is the moment that he needed to step up, and he didn't. But all season long, that fourth quarter, Darius Garland has been remarkable. He's led the charge in comeback wins and in games that should not have been close. Third quarter has gotten away from them. They've played sloppy. They'll own it and say, they'll call it defensive slippage. You've seen that multiple times throughout the season. I think that's a really good building block. It's not you don't want to see it, but when you do see it, I think it's something really good for them to learn from. But when you have that and you have to keep it a game, you have to get yourself back into it, either a comeback or that team is coming back and you're like tight in that matchup, right? I think Darius Garland has shown he can be the guy that you can count on to lead the charge. He brings energy, he brings that clutch capacity, and that's going to be huge in the playoffs. And I think what we have seen this year particularly, right, is his ability where the lights shine the brightest, aside from, Boston. They're calling it Madison Square Garland. Like, to play in New York, whether they swept the Knicks, but to play in New York is, no matter what, always a challenge. It's always it's the aura of MSG. Like that, it comes with a special kind of difficulty, and for him to play like that, I feel like is a really good stepping stone for him to play when the lights are bright in Cleveland, when the lights are bright whoever the 8th seed ends up being in one of these cities, right? I think for him to be able to have that success that he did against New York, to me, feels like a really good indicator that he's got it in him to be able to bring that once the playoffs start.
Yeah, I don't get the feeling that Darius is like hoping that the light shines on him. I think Darius is going to go into this like he wants that spotlight right now. And he's kind of demanding it. And I think that is a different, and I think that's the difference between this Cavs team in years before. There were years where it felt like they were like, well, we got to be careful about who we match up with and this, that, and the third, and, who we want to see. I get the feeling that they look at teams and they go, like with the Knicks, I feel like they were disappointed the Knicks got the 3 seed. And that they didn't fall to the 4. Because I think they wanted to eliminate the Knicks in New York, right? Like, I get that feeling from. I think they're looking forward to playing Boston if they get to play them in the Eastern Conference Finals, if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Because I think they're saying to themselves, no, we want to make sure there's no doubt about what we are as a basketball team. Like, you can hear it when Darius talks. He doesn't say it, but you can very much guess. He wants Oklahoma City. Like, he wants the toughest challenges that's ahead of him. He doesn't want to kind of ease out of here. And I think that is different. That's a team to me that's ready for the challenge. Now, will they be able to accomplish that goal? We'll find out. That's what the playoffs are for. But before we head out here, Cam, where can they find so much more of your work that you do? Because you do a lot between all three of the sports teams here in Cleveland. And man, they're gonna add a WNBA team. They're gonna ask you to do that too.
And I'd be happy to. And I'm gonna be happy to do it. I'll throw it on here. Please give us a WNBA team in Cleveland. We got a women's soccer team coming, so here we go. We're gonna add all the sports. No, news5cleveland.com. Watch News 5, obviously, and then at Cami Justice on all my social. I'll post a bunch of video content on there, especially playoffs. There's gonna be some fun stuff. I have a really great story coming up. I've been waiting for a few years to tell it. It's Donovan Mitchell. I've been working on it, and so this one I'm really excited about. It will be during the playoffs. So just if you're watching Cavs playoffs, you will see it. There is no way around it. But news5cleveland.com for everything else.
Does this have something to do with the upcoming season of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
It has everything to do with how much that man loves Cleveland. I'll tell you all about it.
Super excited about that because I think that's been an underrated thing about the whole will Donovan leave gate, right? It's like this man was clearly happy here from day one.
Loves
but that's awesome to hear. And if you heard Cam talk about the Cavs and you think, wow, I want to hear what she has to say about the Browns, make sure you go check out my Browns channel, had Cam Justice on. And we talked about the inner workings of the Browns and what's going on there and what you should look forward to with the draft. But this is Quincy Carrier for Cam Justice. Make sure you go follow her at Cammy Justice on Twitter. A lot of stuff going to be happening on that Twitter page, right? A lot of stuff going to be dropping there. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're subscribed here. Follow her there and notified so you don't miss a thing. But thank you, Cam, for coming on. Everybody else, have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.